Welcome to the Ordinary Guy Garage. I'm Scott, Ordinary Guy, and today we're going to put the stroker motor in the S10. So, hang tight. So, before I start getting this thing put in there, figured I'd go over a couple of things here. With the engine, I'm shooting for 600 horsepower. We'll see what happens. Want to be optimistic, but that's what I'm shooting for, and I'm shooting for low 10s. I'd like to see a 1020 would be good. 1050 I'd be all right with. So I don't know, whatever. It's a shot in the dark. We'll figure out what happens when I get down to the track. Track is supposed to open in about a month, as you can tell, it's cold out here, 30 degrees. But anyways, there's been a lot of stuff going on. Recently, my barn burned down. That was a couple videos back, I showed that. And it kind of did a number on the side of my shop. Got all that repaired for the most part, enough that I can get out here and do some work. Yesterday, we poured a brand new concrete slab where the barn was, where the new garage is gonna get built. Not replacing this, it's just gonna be a garage because we didn't have one before. So it's been a lot of work. Plus, and I got all my field out here. I got irrigation ditches to clean and blackberries to remove, and there's a lot of work out here to do. So anyways, my shop's a mess, but I don't have really the time to clean everything and do it. Not right now. It's kind of a whirlwind. But anyways, woe is me. Enough about that. So some of the things I'm going with on the S10 now, being that I'm gonna go from running mid 11s down to mid 10, or anyways faster than 11 seconds, one of the things I have to have is a locking dipstick. So interesting thing, fun fact, I bought this from Summit. It's one of their rebranded parts. You know, it has the Summit S on the end, but this is a $89 Summit thing, half as much as a low car. Pretty cool, right? Well, you probably can't see it, but on the end of the dipstick, it says low car. So whatever, it's a low car dipstick with the Summit S on it. And I find that a lot with the Summit brand parts. You know, they're not Chinese knockoffs. I mean, some of them are, but a lot of them aren't. You know, you get some good quality parts, and I've saved a lot of money by doing that. My failure in this, though, is I found out when I got it is I need a locking dipstick to run faster than 11 seconds. This is not a locking dipstick. So anyways, what I'm going to do is, looking at this, I think I could modify it. I might be able to. I was measuring it a little bit earlier with my calipers, and I think I could drill a hole through here and have it land right in between those two O-rings, and then put a pin through it, making it a locking dipstick. So probably what I'm going to do, I can do that modification while it's in the truck. So what I'm going to do is install it first, because I need to know, once I get it in, because this bolts to the firewall, which way it fits, because I don't want the pin going right into the, anyways, I need to figure that out. So that's one of the things we're doing. A couple other things we're also doing is, I bought a Moroso. Summit also has these too, but there's a lot of comments on it about them leaking. And so I didn't want to go through all of that, so I just ponied up, bought the good stuff. Now this is an evac system. This is going to go from the valve cover vent down to the header. And what that does is it creates a vacuum to release, it creates a vacuum that helps get the crankcase gases out of the engine. The engine running, especially at high RPM, creates a lot of pressure in there, and you'll get oil leaks from it. It'll push gaskets out and stuff. And the big thing is it costs horsepower. So I'm going to put this in. This is a weld-in deal, so we're going to be doing some fab work on that. Got to get the engine in first, so that way I can see exactly where these will fit, because there's not a lot of room where they'll fit on the header. So that has to happen. The other thing I did was I went ahead and ponied up for a, excuse me, electric water pump to go on there, and not because of horsepower or anything like that. That wasn't my reason. I mean, you can gain a couple, I think, but not much. My big reason for it was to be able to cool the engine down in between rounds. If you have a mechanical pump, you have your engine running. The only time your pump runs is when your engine's running. So it's kind of hard to cool it down. So this way I can shut off the motor and be cooling down in between rounds. Or also for warming up, I could leave the pump off and warm it up a little bit faster. So that's the reason I went with this. So that being said, now my alternator doesn't fit or won't fit. So again, I bought a new mount, and this is supposed to go in conjunction with the water pump. Can't really see because the camera's up there, but that'll go in there, and we'll get into that later, and that'll move my alternator into a different spot. So one last thing I did as an upgrade was I bought these energy suspension motor mounts several years ago, and I've only used them for racing, and it's been fine. You know, they work good. They're a lot better than the stock ones, but they're not a solid motor mount. And can't really, it's cold out here, so these are, but once they warm up, they move around. And this last engine that I had in here was too much for these, I guess, and they're all loose and everything now. So I went ahead and got, let's go ahead and put this down. See them right here. Got a set of Moroso solid motor mounts. So probably a little bit more appropriate for the horsepower level and what I'm after, solid motor mount. So I think that's about it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and change out that dipstick in the transmission, and we'll start dropping the motor in. So here we go. All right, well, got the dipstick in, made a little bit of a puddle on the ground with it, but you know, if you're not working on, or if you don't have a puddle of oil or trans fluid or something on the ground, you're not working on your car, at least in my case. But anyways, this is the dipstick that came out. You know, this is just your factory dipstick. You know, it comes in and out real easy. And in fact, a friend of mine just reminded me the other day when we were talking about this, that a couple years back, down at the track, somebody was asking, whose dipstick is this? And they're walking around with this thing, and I looked and I realized I was missing my dipstick. So this has actually been out on the track, which, you know, is not a good thing. And I don't know why I didn't replace it. I completely forgot that ever even happened. But anyways, got the new one on there. Like I said, I'll modify it so it will be locking, and I'll show that later. But I want to get all this together first and then move forward from there. So now I'm going to put the flex plate on, get that on torqued and all that. So let's get going on that. Alrighty. Socket and a torque wrench. 60 pounds. 60. All right, here we go. a good one. All right, well, I skipped ahead, and I know the video is a little bit choppy there, but you know, it takes time, and to do stuff like this. And engine's in now. This is the 5th engine I've had in this truck, and this is the first time I've done it with the front end and the transmission in. Normally, what I do is I take the whole front clip off and put the engine and transmission in and out all as one, and it goes so much easier. But I've been watching, street racing channel and things like that, and they pull the engine in and out so many times, and they leave everything together. I figured, you know what, let me give that a shot. That's not the way I do it. It was a pain in the butt to do it that way. I have this set up where it's only a few bolts and it comes in and out. I got everything on plugs. I should have just stuck with my old way of doing it. I will next time. The other thing that I ran into with this was I made the pads on the frame that the motor mounts set down on. And you can see, got to get a little closer to the camera for this. 2 5/8 is the distance between the two where it sits down onto the thing. 2 5/8 is this one. And when I made those mounts, I had these. Well, the Moroso mounts were 2 1/2. Only 1/8 of an inch, but that 1/8 of an inch might as well be, 1.5 foot when you're dealing with stuff like this. So I had to pull the engine back out. I had it almost all the way in, and I had to pull it back out. Oh, but before I did that, this is why the video is so choppy. Before I did that, it was almost fitting, that 1/8 inch, almost made it. And so I'm using a pry bar and I'm kind of wiggling it back and forth. And right behind these motor mounts is a freeze plug. And I'm jiggling it all, and I felt, I'm like, oh crap. And I looked in there and the freeze plug was pushed in. Now, it wasn't popped all the way in, and it only moved it back a little bit, but I said, you know what? That was it. Pulled the engine out, popped that freeze plug out, put a fresh one in. I don't want to take any chances with that. And then I was able to grind down my mounts that are on the frame. And then the second time, boom, it went right in. But I'm still going to do the front end off next time I do the engine. I'm not going to do it like this. This is total BS doing it this way. But anyways, it's all in, bolted up. I still got to put another transmission mount or, bell housing mount in. I got to tighten up the motor mounts. I got to start getting everything, worked and put in there. This was the old carburetor. I've just set it on there. I have tape across the manifold, so it's not just sitting over here waiting for nuts and bolts to fall in it. It's protected. I got a new carburetor coming, so. And on that note, I said a lot about different parts I have, and I'm not a guy to brag, and I'm not trying to brag. The thing is going from 1150 to a 1050 plus or minus, however you look at that, requires a lot of different parts, so I've had to buy a lot of parts, and it's wearing on me. It's got expensive, but whatever, I made the commitment, so here I am. Not complaining, I'm just saying I'm not bragging about all these parts, because that's not my style. That's not my style at all. So, but anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me ramble on about stuff. Make sure you like and give me a comment if you would, please. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you are subscribed, tell your friends. Anyways, thanks a lot, my friends. I will see you next time.